Deep inside the high Colorado Rockies, the world's best cyclists will soon test their limits at the toughest 7-day stage race ever conceived. And Andy Schleck will get his rematch against Cadel Evans. This is Andy Schleck here, beaten on the climbs and now on the defensive, just 4 weeks after the unforgettable battle in France. Evans is making a dash for the line. Cadel Evans cannot be beaten. These two champions take to the road once again. It will be a star-studded field full of household names, including American climbing stars Levi Leipheimer and Tom Danielson, strong all-around riders George Hincapie and Christian van der Velde, and time trial specialist Dave Zabriskie, each climbing to unprecedented altitude as these majestic roads become a proving ground unlike any the peloton has ever seen. This is the USA Pro Cycling Challenge preview show. Hi everybody, I'm Phil Liggett, and today we'll look ahead to the most exciting new cycling event in years. 7 days, 500 plus miles and over 36,000 feet of vertical climbing. Those are the awe-inspiring facts of the inaugural USA Pro Cycling Challenge, set in the magnificent Colorado Rockies and designed to challenge the world's gutsiest teams. For this first race, the list of riders couldn't be more impressive. BMC's Cadel Evans, the Tour de France champion, has chosen to follow up his victory in Paris with a ride through the mountains.
This is going to be really quite a spectacle, isn't it? It's kind of like better than the best field post-tour criterium, but you have them racing the best stage races in the world, racing in a stage race. That's a fantastic start for the event. It's the inaugural USA Pro Cycling Challenge, and you start like that. Well, if it can progress from here, I don't know where it's going to go, but maybe next year they can aim to have all of the top 10 of the Tour de France. I don't know.
Evans will rematch against Andy Schleck, the great Leopard Trek rider, who was once again the tough luck runner-up at a Tour de France. Riding in support of his brother once again will be Frank Schleck, meaning every podium spot from the Champs-Élysées will be represented. And that's just the beginning of this powerhouse lineup.
Colorado has been able to attract the Tour de France podium. You know, Cadel Evans, my teammate, and both the Schlecks. I don't think that, you know, we've had an event like this since there was racing in Colorado back in the old days. It's exciting for me because that's what I grew up watching.
Colorado has a massive base of cycling enthusiasts. A lot of the races that we do with that sort of fan base are in other countries, and you know, it's fun for the the French guys to race in France. It's fun for the Italians to race in Italy. For us Americans, it's such a pleasure and such a reward to race in front of American cycling fans.
Colorado-based team Garmin Cervelo will be hungry to defend its home turf, with climbing specialist and Boulder resident Tom Danielson, who was 9th overall at his first Tour de France.
He's from Colorado. He has adapted to the altitude. He also has the genetics that allow him to absorb that oxygen better than most cyclists, and he is actually able to produce more power at altitude than what you see in most riders. And so he's definitely has the opportunity to perform really well there.
Since I've been in Colorado, I've always dreamed of racing a big race on home soil. To bring international level cycling to America is huge, but then to bring it to your own state, your back door, you know, that's a dream come true.
Radio Shack will be led by American star Levi Leipheimer, who bounced back to form after a rough tour to win the Tour of Utah just days ago. And now will be looking for even more triumph in the Rockies.
You know, I've competed well at altitude before, and hopefully I can do it again in Colorado. I think that the time trial is definitely one of my strengths. You know, uphill time trial, it's always been my strength ever since I started riding the bike. I think that's the stage that will decide the race.
A stellar roster of teams will be competing, including 8 that have just finished the Tour de France. They are BMC, Garmin Cervelo, HTC High Road, Leopard Trek, Liquigas Cannondale, Rabobank, Radio Shack, and Saxo Bank SunGuard. There are 4 pro-continental teams that will also test their strength, including Skill Shimano, Spider Tech, Team Type 1, and United Healthcare. and 5 continental teams: Bissell, Exergy, Gobernation, Jelly Belly and EPM UNE. 17 teams in all will enter, but in the end only one rider will truly conquer this terrain to claim the Quiznos yellow jersey when the race reaches the finishing line in Denver. A closer look at the map reveals exactly what kind of challenge this race will be. The awe-inspiring route kicks off with a prologue in Colorado Springs. This will give the competitors a chance to showcase their speed before the brutal test ahead. Beginning with stage 1 from Salida, the field will be amidst the Mammoth Rockies for 5 straight days of alpine punishment. And the finish up Gothic Road to Mount Crested Butte will be the biggest uphill finish of the entire event. And then for stage 2, things get even more difficult, with the Queen stage from Gunnison to Aspen taking the men of the peloton over the 12,126-foot Cottonwood Pass, including a treacherous dirt road section. And the 12,095-foot Independence Pass with its narrow and steep switchbacks. Stage 3 is not any easier, as the mountain time trial in Vail takes them up Bighorn Road towards Vail Pass on a ride that will be key to the general classification hopefuls. Stage 4 from Avon, Colorado to Steamboat Springs should be a day when the sprinters can strike at the peloton as they race through the countryside. Then they turn around on stage 5 to run from Steamboat Springs over the twin 9,000-foot peaks of Rabbit Ears Pass and then into the picturesque town of Breckenridge, before finally coming back down from the Rockies on stage 6 between Golden and Denver. It's here in front of the Gold Leaf State Capitol building where the victor will pull on the coveted Quiznos yellow jersey to be crowned the winner of the first annual USA Pro Cycling Challenge. One man who has been critical to making this spectacular race happen is no stranger to the colour yellow.
We had a lot of races in the United States over the years up in the Northeast. You had Tour of Georgia, you had Tour of Missouri, you had Tour of California, obviously. But back in the day, you had the Coors Classic, which was a legendary, epic Colorado stage race that just felt like needed to be done again or duplicated or repeated with this younger generation of riders that we have. And it started just with an idea like that, really, that started on a bike ride and led to a call to the governor. And next thing you know, here we go. It has the Rocky Mountains. It has a ton of history and legacy when it comes to not just the Coors Classic from before, but also the riders that have come from this state, the riders that have trained in this state. It's got a lot of history here.
This world-class field will be battling for 5 prestigious jerseys at the US Pro Cycling Challenge. World-renowned climbers like Andy Schleck, Tom Danielson and many others will be battling both each other and the altitude in an effort to become the Nissan King of the Mountains. Young riders like 22-year-old Americans Ben King and 23-year-old TJ Van Garderen will be in a quest for the Sheet's Best Young Rider jersey. Strong breakaway riders like North Carolina resident George Hincapie and Canadian rider Hesjedal could be seeking the Exergy Most Aggressive Rider jersey. The fastest men on 2 wheels, including Robert Foster and the American Freddie Rodriguez, will be hunting the Smashburger Sprint jersey. And of course, the Quiznos race leader yellow jersey will be reserved for the man who leads the competition at the end of every day. In a special tribute to Davis Finney, one of the first Americans to win a stage at the Tour de France and the last reigning champion of the famous Coors Classic, the USA Pro Cycling Challenge will be sponsoring an auction of each one of these jerseys at CharityBuzz.com. This will benefit the Davis Finney Foundation, providing information, inspiration and tools to help people with Parkinson's disease to live well today. Cadel Evans finally broke through on racing's biggest stage this year to seize the Maillot Jaune in impressive fashion during the final decisive time trial of the 2011 Tour de France. But the journey to the top step of the podium had been a long time coming.
had a late start to road cycling anyway. 25, I started riding Grand Tours, and then I had a late start again to debuting in the Tour de France. 2005, I rode my first tour. Just snuck in to get 8th overall, and from there, yeah, progressed 8th, 4th, 2nd was looking like a really good progression, and then 2010 was all going great. My first time with the BMC team, but I broke my arm in the first week. Still managed to take the yellow jersey, but I didn't get it for very long.
Despite the misfortune, he returned with the encouragement of BMC owner Andy Rees and one of cycling's most respected riders.
I believed in myself, but also people, Andy Rees, the BMC team. George Hincapie also really believed in me, and Daniel, when a guy of his experience believes in you, you can't doubt yourself.
He believed, and through that belief and an uncanny knack for speed, the 34-year-old Australian finally had his victory lap on the Champs-Élysées. And in spite of being one of the Tour's oldest winners, he's hungry for more.
Just being realistic at this point. 2011 Tour de France as a winner. 2012 for sure I go back and I try and win it again. 2013 I think so also. Just being conservatively realistic. 2014 will like to think that's my last year racing at a high level and having won the Tour once. But always in my mind, if I do the Tour, I go there to try and win it, not to just be a part or whatever.
Now in the footsteps of his greatest hour, Evans is eager for the USA Pro Cycling Challenge's unique test.
I think overall the first 3 days are very difficult, and the race is going to be, a lot of it's going to be dictated right in the start. First, second, third road stage. And then from there, yeah, the difficulty of that you're going to also pay for in the last few days. So I think for me it's the altitude that's always the thing. A good time trial, it's going to be very important. And but because so much, I think the importance is going to be the first part of the race. A good team's going to be quite important as well.
A stellar roster of teams will be competing. For this first race, the list of riders couldn't be more impressive.
That's quite a coup for the US Pro Cycling Challenge. Wouldn't it be nice if we could have a stage race? Wouldn't it be nice if we could have some good riders in our stage race? How about, say, everyone on the podium at the Tour? What are the chances you can get that?
In addition to Cadel Evans and George Hincapie, 23-year-old South Carolina native Chris Butler is a young climber who could do well in the Colorado Rockies. And for Evans to succeed, he will certainly need the support of his entire team. The prologue, presented by Quiznos, kickstarts the race at the aptly named Garden of the Gods, as the riders don their time trial gear and look to race like Nike, the Greek god of speed, for this 5-mile sprint. Positioned a minute apart in their quest, speed specialists like Dave Zabriskie, Levi Leipheimer and newly crowned Tour de France champion Cadel Evans will reach speeds of more than 50 miles an hour on a course full of downhill turns that will keep the riders on razor's edge as they race to the finishing line in downtown Colorado Springs. Regardless of who wins, one rider you know will race relentlessly on this day is HTC High Road and hometown boy Danny Pate.
With the prologue starting there in the Garden of the Gods, a lot of people I know are going to be there. A lot of people that my friends that have never seen me race before. Some of the guys I train with there in Colorado Springs, and I train with them on mountain bikes or something, and then they see that I ride the Tour de France, and kind of like, that doesn't make sense, you know? But they've actually never seen me race a bike. They just kind of see me ride one around a bit. And so it'll be cool to actually get to be in a venue where I'm racing, and my friends and family will be there. I never really thought that they would have this big a race in Colorado, because since I've been racing, which has been a while now, there hasn't been a big tour in Colorado for ages, since I can remember. Like, there was the old Coors Classic, and I don't even know when that is, and I'm not a young guy anymore, you know? And so it's awesome that the promoters and everyone has had a bit to bring this race to Colorado, that it's happened.
And if you're planning to check out the action in person, you'll be in luck with a festival featuring entertainment, food, music and more. Or better yet, take the whole week off and follow the race, because this excitement is not only at the prologue finish, but every finish for the next 6 stages. Stage 1, presented by United Healthcare, begins in Salida, famous for some of the world's best mountain biking. But there's adventure everywhere you look in this dream town. However, the cyclists of the peloton won't have time to enjoy any additional recreation. After a few ceremonial laps around town, they'll be ready to get the racing underway. 99 miles lay ahead in the high Rockies with over 8,000 feet of heart-pounding vertical climbs. The first Nissan King of the Mountains contest will be at the peak of Monarch Pass, which at over 11,000 feet is truly beyond categorization. If you're planning to cheer on your favorite rider, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better location. But this being Colorado, where there are peaks, valleys soon follow, giving the sprinters a chance to claim glory of their own. On this day, 2 Smashburger sprint banners will be placed across the route as the cyclists approach the skiing haven of Crested Butte. But on this day, the vertical will be experienced on 2 wheels as the climbers seek to escape and beat each other to the line of the race's only mountaintop finish, as Gothic Road winds 3 miles up to the town of Mount Crested Butte at a lung-busting elevation of 9,380 feet.
Mount Crested Butte finish there on the end of stage 1 is unique because it comes at very high altitude. I think it's up around 10,000 feet. You know, I think it will be somewhat decisive, but not super decisive. It's a big road. It's not super steep, but it's just short enough that a lot of guys will be able to suffer it out and get to the finish line with the leaders. But I think it will be exciting, and I'll definitely have to be on top of my game, and everyone else will be as well. But I don't think that anyone's ever had a stage race like this such consistently at high altitude. I'm really interested to see what the cumulative effects are of having these hard finishes and hard stages at high altitude and then sleeping and recovering at high altitude day in and day out for 7 days. I'm really interested to see what happens to everybody.
This year's Tour de France undoubtedly left Andy Schleck feeling empty. Having already been runner-up twice before, he went for the glory in stage 18, proclaiming that with no guts there is no glory. But despite his success in seizing the Maillot Jaune, he was unable to hold off Cadel Evans on stage 20, a defeat that undoubtedly still stings. But to his credit, the 26-year-old is getting right back on his bike for the USA Pro Cycling Challenge and will likely be a force to be reckoned with for both the King of the Mountains title and the yellow jersey. And in cycling, there is no better form of revenge than victory. Other riders to watch out for on Leopard Trek are Andy's brother Frank, likely to be trailblazing the path to victory, and Jens Voigt, the fans' favourite, who is still going strong. Still to come, the Queen Stage from Gunnison to Aspen, where the cyclists will combat the highest altitudes in the history of racing, including back-to-back 12,000-foot passes.
Man, that day it's gonna be brutal. It's gonna be a grind.
And I think that the altitude will play a major role in this race for a lot of guys. I mean, you can't compare Independence Pass to anything in Europe.
All ahead on the USA Pro Cycling Challenge preview show.
Cadel Evans climbed the podium when he won the Tour de France. Below him stood the Schleck brothers, who finished second and third. Don't think for a minute they were satisfied, because now they're heading into the Rockies, intent on making Evans and the rest of the field look up at them. The USA Pro Cycling Challenge begins Monday at 4 on Versus and concludes on NBC.
I've watched the podium since I was a kid, and then when you're right there, you know, when you're only a couple of feet away and you're watching the podium of the guys who just got first, second, and third of the tour, you know, it's just real.
At this year's Tour de France, Garmin Cervelo won the team competition and now enters the USA Pro Cycling Challenge with arguably the most impressive 8-man roster of any team. 4 of the riders will have just competed in the Tour de France, including time trial specialist David Zabriskie, 18th place finisher Ryder Hesjedal, 17th place finisher Christian van der Velde, and Tom Danielson.
Tommy D, you're going to get 9th place in the Tour de France. How does it feel? Holy
who with his 9th place may have solidified himself as the team leader going into this race.
Even though it was my first Tour de France and I would have liked to take a more relaxed role, I knew I owed it to myself to give it a go and just do, you know, something that I've always dreamed about doing.
First Tour de France, a top 9 finish for him.
To pull it off was amazing.
Tom Danielson returns to his homeland of Colorado, where he has won the notorious Mount Evans hill climb 3 times and now eyes cycling's newest prize, the USA Pro Cycling Challenge's yellow jersey.
I rode into Paris. I thought, okay, I'm done for the year. You know, as soon as I got to the hotel and I started to recover a little bit, you know, all of a sudden, you know, Colorado was in the back of my mind a little bit. And then on the flight home, I was like, man, I'm pumped. I'm pumped for this race. You know, holy crap. You know, here I am, just finished a Grand Tour, and I'm motivated for USA Pro Cycling Challenge.
For Danielson to succeed, he will need not only the support of his team, but also to prove that he is the leader of this talented roster that also includes another rider with deep Colorado roots.
I'm born and raised in Boulder, Colorado. I've got a lot of family history. My dad won the race back when it was the Coors Classic, the old Tour of Colorado, in 79 and 83. My uncle raced it a lot as well. They were kind of the brother dynamic duo. They were like the Schleck brothers nowadays, if you will, but they were the 70s version of that.
All in all, it is a roster packed with talent and experience, and the fuel of being Colorado-based should be plenty of motivation for the men in Argyle. Gunnison is a classic western town lined with ranches that shine in the shadow of awe-inspiring mountains. And on this day, the rider's destination will be even further than the end of that rainbow. Stage 2, presented by Nissan, has been branded the Queen Stage because it is the crown jewel. At 131 miles and over 9,700 vertical feet, this is both the longest and the highest stage of the entire event, with 2 12,000-foot passes in one day.
It's funny because I spoke with a journalist a few weeks ago, and he was analyzing like my tours and the Giro I did. And he said always when you talking to me, when I made the difference to the other riders, that was always above 2,000 meters. So I think that could be a really good stage for me.
To put this in context, this year's Tour de France went as high as 9,003 feet. This year's Giro d'Italia only went as high as 7,378 feet. Quite simply, this is groundbreaking elevation for the cycling world. Cottonwood Pass marks the Nissan King of the Mountains banner, another skyscraping pass to separate the strong climbers from the rest of the field. But in a unique twist, the ascent up Cottonwood Pass is on a dirt road, an extra challenge for the racer's thin tyres. But former champion mountain biker Cadel Evans welcomes the difficult conditions.
Being an ex-mountain biker, I suppose, I always train on the worst possible roads wherever I live in the world or go training, because you have to be used to everything to be a good rider.
Cadel Evans is riding out of his skin.
The stage of the Giro d'Italia, Strada Bianca last year. Call it Strada Marrone, brown roads. Poured rain that day. I loved it. I don't think anyone else did, but I loved it.
After the dirt, after the climbing, after the rainy conditions, Cadel Evans wins stage 7.
To add to the punishment, right after the descent is Mighty Independence Pass with a 6.5% gradient, numerous switchbacks, and more oxygen-deprived air toward the world-famous Crimson Red Mountains of Aspen.
Man, that day it's gonna be brutal. It's gonna be a grind. I mean, the group's gonna like come down, but then that time up Independence Pass, it's steep. It's a steep climb and it goes up really high. It's just gonna come in ones and twos into Aspen. Actually, my fiance Jessica Phillips is putting on a women's race, the Aspen Women's Pro Race, and that'll be happening the same day. And so she said that it's really important to her that I win that day. So, yeah, I'm going to be going for it there.
I mean, you can't compare Independence Pass to anything in Europe. They're typically longer here, but not as steep, and they're higher. You know, for example, Alpe d'Huez starts at maybe 1,000 feet. So the guys are able to breathe down there, but it's 9 or 10%. Independence Pass goes up to 12,000 feet. but it's 4 or 5%. So you sort of pick your poison there, whatever suits a different rider. But I mean, I think that the altitude will play a major role in this race for a lot of guys.
Now here's the attack we expected earlier from Ivan Basso. Basso has come back to the front again. He's giving as good as he gets here. On this stage, watch out for Liquigas Cannondale's Ivan Basso, two-time Giro d'Italia winner who was a solid 8th in this year's Tour de France. His experience and tenacity will be combined with the motivation to succeed for Cannondale on his bike manufacturer's home ground.